These are the 7.6 notes for Algebra 2. Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting rationals, but this time we're going to have uncommon denominators. So the first step is we have to get common denominators. And then for subtraction, we're going to distribute the negative. That's the same thing we did on the last lesson. And of course, combine our like terms. So for example number 1, I have in the denominator a 3x and a 6x. My common denominator, I'm looking for a number that 3x and 6x can go into. So for this, you're going to have to make larger numbers as opposed to the greatest common factor where you made smaller ones. So our common denominator is going to be 6x. This one on the right is already a 6x, so I'll just go ahead and leave that alone. The one on the left, what do I need to multiply 3x by in order to become 6x? That would be a 2. Whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top. Now 2 times 3x is 6x, and now I have common denominators. In the numerator, 2 times 7 is 14. Then I can add like terms across the top. 14 plus 5 is 19, and keep the common denominator of 6x. Example number 2. Again, we're going to first start by getting common denominators. So I have a 5 and a 3x. So my common denominator is going to be 15x. So it's almost the opposite of what we did with the greatest common factor. You have to at least have the x in there. So in order to get 15x, I need to multiply this first part, 5, by 3x, top and bottom. I need to multiply the denominator over on the right-hand side by 5 to get 15x. All right, let's see what that gives us. 15x, multiply 3x times 2x, 6x squared, 15x, and a 35. Now, because this is a subtraction problem, I'm going to distribute that negative. Or in other words, keep, change, change. I'm going to keep this first fraction the same. I'm going to change this minus to a plus and make that 35 a negative. Then I combine like terms across the top. However, I don't have any like terms, so I'll just leave it as 6x squared plus negative 35. Or if you want, you can change it back to a minus 35 over your common denominator of 15x. Right, problem number 3. 7x compared to 7x squared. These are almost common denominators. I'm going to make my common denominator 7x squared. You can make x's larger, but you can't make them smaller. So I'm going to multiply this one by an x. What am I missing to get it to 7x squared? I'm missing an x. And that leaves me 7x squared. 1 times x is just x. 7x squared is already good on the right-hand side. And the 4. Again, you could distribute the negative. It's not as important to distribute the negative, keep, change, change on problems that only have just one thing, like that 1, 4. Becomes more important as the numbers get a little bit, end up with a little bit more terms. Right, common denominator of 7x squared, and I'll write that as x minus 4 or x plus negative 4. For the next set of problems, we're going to have to factor first. So let's make a little note here. For number 4 and 5, we need to factor first. So for example number 4, this x squared minus 25 is going to factor. It's a difference of squares, x plus 5 and x minus 5. Everything else I'm just going to bring down. Now the next thing I want to do is try to get the denominators to be the same. This is a little bit different on how I'm going to get this to be the same. If you notice, this x minus 5 and this x minus 5 already match. All I need to add in is that x plus 5. So I'm literally just going to put an x plus 5 on this side. Now if you look at it, I have the exact same denominators. The signs are switched, but that's okay. It still is the same numbers, so we're good there. Once you have common denominators, you can distribute anything. So meaning this 6 right here needs to be distributed. So let me write that whole problem again. 2x plus 3, x plus 5, and x minus 5. And here I'll distribute 6 times x is 6x, and 6 times 5 is 30. Keep the denominator the same. You want it to match with the other one. Then we can combine our like terms. 2x and 6x makes 8x. 3 plus 30 makes 33. And we'll again continue to leave our denominator the same. And there's my final answer. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. It's very similar. This one, you are not going to factor because you actually don't have anything to factor here. So we still want to get these to be the same. So the only way to make these the same is to put an x plus 3 on this side and to put an x minus 4 on this side. Notice now your denominators. Both of them have an x minus 4 and an x plus 3 in them. So they are now common. So I will distribute this 5 at the top. 5x minus 20. I'll keep the denominator, just like that. This negative right here, we probably should have done this at the beginning, so I apologize for that. I'm going to do plus and a minus right there, and then I'll distribute that negative 2, which will give me negative 2x and minus 6. Denominator is the same. Those are still matching. And then we can combine like terms. 5x plus negative 2x is 3x. Negative 20 plus negative 6 is negative 26. The denominator just stays the same, x minus 4 and x plus 3. And there's your final answer.